friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Workshop. We are in the other part of the shop because I needed more room. We've got an upright bass and it's got some issues. One issue is that the tail pin, they took it out and put the rubber deal on the flat end. The pointy end is the normal end actually for the rubber. And that hole through there is how you pin that rubber on if you need to. Anyway, you know, people try all kinds of things and everything wears out on this. I have a pretty darn good solution for these that seems to hold up really well, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. The bridge, see if I can just hold it up here. I think you can see the problem. I think you can. The bridge is really curled. I hope you can see that. I can't really see the viewfinder well, but the bridge has a real big curl in it. I would say a 1/4 inch curl from the foot down here to the top. There's probably close to a 1/4 inch of curl in that. And so I am going to try something I've never actually tried that I can remember. I may have tried it, but I don't recall. And I'm going to try to see if we can wet that bridge down and see if we can straighten it in some clamps. I've never tried that, but I thought, you know, what the heck, it's worth a try. Unlike the mandolin bridge, and if you saw the Eastman mandolin that I just recently set up, I turned the base of the bridge around. I kept the saddle pointing the same way, turned the foot of the bridge around, and then recut the feet. On this, you can't really turn them around. They're cut to match the fingerboard, and if you turn them around, you'd have to recut that, and then it would be too low. So the only option is either replace it or repair it. So I thought, what the heck, we might as well try the repair. Alright, I'm on the dark side of the shop, which is actually otherwise known as the metal shop. And I have chucked up in the 3-jaw chuck a piece of rubber which came off of a rubber hammer. So that's really hard rubber, and it would be a good in for the base. So my goal is to turn it down small enough, you know, I'm not going to make it this small, it's going to be quite a bit bigger, and it'll be a fairly good sized chunk of rubber when we're done. But anyway, it's tapered right now, and so it's difficult to hold. I've checked everything and I have clearance to come in, and so I'm going to cut a flat, you know, just going to parallel it up and just straighten it up, and then we'll turn it around and hold it in the other way, and then we'll work on the other side, and then we'll drill a hole in it and make it fit that base peg. Sorry for all the noise in here, but it's very hot in this side, so I have the air conditioner running and a fan running, but hopefully you can hear me and hopefully you can see what we're doing. I will try to zoom you in a little bit so that you can see what I'm actually doing. Here we go. Haven't tried this yet. Okay, I think you can see we've got her chucked up, turned around the other way. We'll come in here and face off this side now and straighten it up. Okay, I've chucked it in a little closer because we're going to be doing a drilling operation now, and I want to hold it real secure. I'm checking the thickness of this, and it's almost exactly a ½ inch. It's 2/1000 under a ½ inch, so 0.498. And so if I use a ½ inch drill, that's going to be, you know, sloppy fit. I want it to be a real snug fit, so I'm going to see what I've got in the way of drills that'll be just under a ½ inch. Okay, I've checked here. I've got a drill bit that is a 31/64, which is 480 thousandths about, and we're going to start drilling in. The object is going to be to drill in about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way. I don't want to go any further than about 3/4 of the way. Thought I had the camera turned on. Of course I didn't. The object is going to be to go in about 1 full inch. I started measuring from right there, and I cranked it in by the dial 500 thousandths. So I'm going to measure that to see how accurate my dial is, to see if we're in about 500 thousandths. And we're very close, so I'm going to call the dial very accurate. We'll set it back here again, and again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just getting a good firm guess on it. And what I'll do is this time on the way in, as soon as I feel it touch, I'll call that 500 thousandths, and I'll go from there. Right there is about where I felt it. So we'll go in. That would be about 600 thousandths. There's about 700 thousandths. There's about 800 thousandths. And there would be about 9. Now we'll go one more. I'm going to stop a little short. Okay, let's see how deep we went in. Should be a little less than an inch, I'm thinking. Well, actually, it's an inch and 20 thousandths. So I'm glad I stopped. Let me double check that again. Now I'm right at an inch. So we're just a hair under an inch, as a matter of fact. So that's perfect. Okay, so that worked good. Alright, I have a little carbide cutter here. I'm going to shorten the end of this base because the hole here that I want to use to pin this rubber on there with is quite a ways from the end. So we're going to shorten it up a little bit. Okay, I adjusted it where I could cut a little better. I was running out of cross feed here. I don't have the proper tooling set up in this or anything, but I just want to put a slight bevel, approximately the same as the drill bit. It comes out to be like a 60-degree type bevel, so anyway, we're just going to knock a little bit of a bevel on there, and I could do this better, but it's just no point in making it a big deal. Okay, I believe that's just about perfect right there. That should work really good. There's the hole. And I would say we go past the hole by, well, actually we can even measure that, I think. I can just kind of measure. Right there is about, so we're into the hole that deep. So we can see there we've got, 3/16 of an inch. So that'll be perfect. My idea for drilling this hole through here and getting it to match up is that I put it in this vise real secure. I've got it lined up where the drill bit will go through it already. So, and I have it clamped with 3 different clamps on here, so it shouldn't move theoretically. One thing I didn't check was, do I have enough clearance for my drill bit over this rubber? And I don't, of course. Oh, wouldn't you know? So I'll have to drop the table down just a little bit. It never fails. There's always something you don't think about. Okay, so now I've got to reline up the table here. Okay, got her tightened up. Now we'll put this back on here. Okay, I've got her on there as far as I can get her. Now we'll just drill straight through. Okay, work like a charm. We're all the way through. Now we can take it out of the vise, and you can see that we've got the end on there, we got the hole, and now a 16 penny nail. I'm going to take a 16 penny nail, put it in my lathe, and take a file to it and turn a long slow taper on it, and then drive it in there and till it gets real tight, and then we'll just cut it off on both sides. Alright, I have a 16 penny nail chucked up in the lathe here, and I'm just going to turn a real long slow taper on that so that I can force it into that hole. I'm sure that'll be good enough. I'm going to go ahead and call that good because we're driving it through until it gets good and tight anyway, and we got plenty of length, so we should be very good with that. I think you can see we've got the rubber boot on the thing still. The tapered pin is long taper, so it's going to go in there no problem. It's already started through the metal, and what I'm going to do is just drive it hard through there, and I can see it's into the rubber on this side already, but it's also hit really hard, I can tell. Okay, and it's almost through to the other side. You probably can't see it in there, but I would say it's an 1/8 inch inside of the rubber yet, which is fine. I mean, that's perfect really. But I'm going to go ahead and see if, just to drive it home a little bit. I think you can see that it. I've ground it off flush with my grinder. Now I'm just going to take the Dremel tool with a little burr and just try to sink it just below the surface so that you just can't get scratched on it or whatever. Alright, we're going to give it a shot here with the Dremel tool. Just so you know, I've got my close-up safety glasses on. Okay, well that's, I think, plenty good. It's sunk below the surface there. Just, I had to hit a little bit of rubber there to do that. What I might just do now is take it to the lathe and just cut a slight bevel on this real sharp edge here, just so, because I think that'll cause it to break and wear, wear out quicker. So I'm going to cut a little 45 type bevel on this, and I'm not going to film it. I'm just going to cut a little bevel there, and then we'll bring it back and show you the finished product. Well, there you have it. We put a little bit of a taper on the end there, 45, and another little bit of a taper on the top, just to make it, you know, finished looking. And you know, it's got a ½ inch, almost a ½ inch of before the pin would actually touch the ground. And this is made out of a rubber mallet, so you know, it's hard rubber, hard material. It should last a long time. It's skid resistant. I don't know how you could get one much better than that. Okay, I've had the bridge soaking for about 10 minutes in the water just to soften it up. I made 2 wedges out of a 2x4. They're long tapered wedges so that it would remain a little more square when I clamp it. I don't know that that's all that necessary, but anyway, I did it. And now I'm going to try and give it my best effort here to put a clamp on the middle of this. Well, it's definitely straightening it up. I don't know if it's going to dry that way or stay that way. Wow, I'm amazed. It actually did straighten it right up. Took the bow right out of it. Now I'll put one on this other end too. So we're going to let her sit like this. I'm probably going to let it sit like that for, you know, for sure for 24 hours and maybe 48 hours till I'm positive the wood is really dried. And I think the wood will dry because there's air can get into it from most directions. And these clamps are not all that terribly airtight anyway, these blocks. So I think it'll work. Certainly looks better right now. Whether it's going to stay that way, I have no idea. We'll find out. I let the bridge sit for 24 hours and dry, and it's got most of the curve out of it. But I thought, you know, I wet it back down, and I'm going to try adding just a little bit more bend to it for another so many hours. And what I'm going to do is use these little blocks, these little thin strips of wood, to put a little bit more pressure to straighten it out just a little bit more. Yeah, that looks good. I'm going to let her sit like that for a few hours till it dries out again. I think we'll be fine. Okay, we're going to take it out of the clamps and see just what it looks like. Okay, now keep in mind it was pretty darn bowed. I would say that's pretty good and straight now compared to the way it was. Yeah, it used to be bowed. I've got it a little bit of a back bow in it now, just a tiny bit, which is good because when the strings are pulling this way, which they're going to be pulling this way, it caused this to bow in before. So this is now, well, it's really pretty darn straight actually. I say back bow, but there's not much. It's pretty straight. So that really did straighten it out nice. Now, you know, am I naive enough to think that that's a permanent fix? Not unless they keep it straight. They will have to always be sure to, you know, to be straightening it back up underneath the weight of the strings. If you just keep letting it pull forward, it's going to bend it right back over again, or even worse. So that should work good. I'm going to try to help it a little bit here on the top. There's such an angle cut on this that's also part of the reason it's pulling forward. I'm going to go ahead and you know, round this off just a little bit so that it's sitting a little more on top rather than just pulling forward. Okay, that rounded it out a little bit better. Now I can put the pencil lead in there a little better. That will definitely make it slicker and make it where the strings will slide a little better. If you get pencil lead on the places you don't want, you can just erase it pretty much. That should help it a lot. That makes it a lot slicker. Okay, we'll put her back together and see what she looks like. We got her all ready to go. All set up. The bridge. And let me just adjust the camera. You can see the bridge is on there good and straight now. It doesn't look bowed at all. The nice new end pin is on there. And the last thing the customer wanted was a new tuner, and I sell these tuners also, and they work really great, these Snark tuners. I already tested it on the bass and it works awesome. So hope you enjoyed this little series on how to fix two real common problems with bass fiddles. Thank you for watching.